Every prophet, every major prophet was spiritually trained and initiated by the imam of their time. The prophets, before they became prophets, they had to enter this hierarchy, and they started out at the bottom. A quick question: do imams move through the ranks? No, the imams do not move through the ranks. The imams are always they are born into the world at number one. The Ismaili view of Quranic revelation is very, very different from the idea that the Quran is the literal word of God. In fact, the Ismailis don't believe that. The Quran is actually Muhammad's words. It's not the direct word of God.
And this is the idea that the Imam is the speaking book of God, and the Quran as a text is the silent book. The speaking Quran is greater in authority than the silent Quran. The speaking Quran overrides the silent Quran. So the ta'lim and the ta'wil of the Imam takes priority over what the Quran says, literally speaking. There is no fallible scholarly interpretation by the Imam, because the Imam is divinely inspired like the Prophet. So the Imam changes the Sharia. He can change the religious practices. The Imam is not just an interpreter of the word of God. The Imam is the word of God.
If you were to correlate the belief in the return of Jesus, that is a symbolic statement. It's a symbolic idea. And the Hujjah of the Qaim would be the return of Jesus. Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah ranks as the 49th Imam. And that would mean Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah is the Hujjah of the Qaim. The Nizari Ismailis are no longer required to pray namaz 5 times a day. They're no longer required to fast in Ramadan. They're no longer required to perform the ritual washing. They're no longer required to go all the way to Mecca to perform Hajj. In the Ismaili practice today, dua and the sond are mandatory. Fasting in Ramadan is not mandatory, it's optional. Because at the end of the day, for us, it's about the authority of the Imam. We follow the guidance of the Imam. If the Imam tomorrow says fast in Ramadan, everybody's going to fast in Ramadan, or at least try to. If the Imam says pray 5 times a day, we will pray 5 times a day. Islam has 7 pillars, not 5 pillars. The highest and first pillar being wilaya. Walaya is love, devotion, and obedience to the Imam of the time. That is the first pillar. The world cannot exist without an Imam. There has to be an Imam at every time. There is an Imam present in the world at all times. The names of Allah do not belong to God's essence. They belong at the level of the Nur of Imamat. Hazrat Imam does not need to practice any sort of prayer. Humans, and this is not just Ismailis, but all humans can only attain to the recognition, the marifah of God, of He who is above all else, through the Nur of Imamat. Right? Intellect is aql, and the Nur of Imamat is aql-e-kul. What we call the Nur of Imamat, or the universal intellect, conceptually, it corresponds to what Christians call the Son of God.
Kuffar.